What's good, YouTube? It's been a while, but I'm back. First of all, I want to apologize that I haven't uploaded anything in I don't know how long, and I've been updating Facebook and stuff like that, but I feel like I haven't been fair to you guys because I've made changes to stuff and I haven't been letting you in on the loop. So I figured I'd bring you an update video and just tell you everything that I've done, what's going on, what's coming next, yada yada yada. You know, I'm not good at making commentary, so I'll just wing it. But a couple months back, what was my last video? I think my last video was the Phytech video. Went fuel injected, running great, not an issue, running flawlessly. But over time, I noticed it just started using coolant. I was putting like half a gallon of water in it a day. Couldn't find out where it was going. So finally, I was walking out of work one day and walked out, and I just saw antifreeze all over the ground. And I said, "Oh, that ain't good. You know, must be seep hole in the water pump or maybe water pump gaskets." And I thought it was the water pump gaskets. Uh, so I went ahead and dumped coolant in it, drove it home. And when I drove it home, it didn't even hold water. And it's like as soon as I found the problem, I jinxed it and ruined it, and I couldn't even get it to go at all without overheating. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. Pull the water pump off, change the gaskets, put everything back together. It was still just pouring out, and it looked like it was coming from the water pump. I replaced the water pump also. Took it to O'Reilly's, exchanged it for a new one, got new gaskets again, put it all back together again. It was still doing it. So that's when I was yelling, cussing, hitting stuff. I was starting to break stuff. So finally I decided to crawl under there and see what anything else it could be. Turns out, between the water pump right down in here and the freeze plug in the block, it's actually pouring out. Everything around the water pump was perfectly dry, and it looked like it was starting right in there. And I don't know if it's leaking around the freeze plug or if the block is cracked against the freeze plug, but I was pulling this motor anyway, so I really didn't want to deal with it. So I was like, well, man, I still got to drive it until I get something figured out. So what am I going to do? Well, I'll go ahead and show you that. I'm going to block the camera real quick because I got a surprise for you. I ain't going to show you that just yet. But I bought this stuff at Walmart, like $33 a bottle. I poured that in and I could not believe it worked flawlessly. And here I was thinking the block was bad, you know, maybe it's pouring out of a head gasket and I couldn't see it. But anyway, it was coming out of the block somewhere. And I was just like, well, man, there's nothing I can do about that without pulling it, seeing if it's a freeze plug or the block, whatever. And it's going to cost way too much to fix it for a motor I'm not going to keep in the truck anyway. So I tried that just to wing it because I was going to pull it anyway. And my God, it fixed it. The thing holds water, and I haven't had to put any in it since. Except I changed a radiator because it works that good. It stopped up a radiator. So I ended up replacing the radiator. And I'll show you what one I ended up getting. This one here I actually got on Rock Auto. Yes, I know there's zip ties holding the fans on. Temporary, but it works. But I got it at Rock Auto. It's the 454 radiator. I don't know if it's for the SS or whatever, you know, just it's 454 radiator for a 90 Chevy. Went in perfect. I changed the bottom pads on it. Dropped right in. And then I got these off a newer Chevy, like Tahoe or whatever, the ones that came factory with a wider radiator, because this truck actually had the real narrow one, and it was just the shroud that kept it from moving around. So I got these on eBay. Had to trim one of the pads a little bit. You know, I ran self tappers in it and still need to get a couple more in there, but holds it good. It's not going anywhere. And the fans, actually, they're for an '07 Silverado NBS. I was like, oh cool, looks like it'll fit pretty good. So I ordered it, and I had to get the Dremel out and edge it a little bit. But after I trimmed it up a little bit, it went right on pretty good. And of course I made my own wiring harness because they're both single speed fans. So I just ran two 50 amp relays to each fan, and then I got another relay for my air conditioning to trigger them to come on when I turn the AC on. I'm only running one fan right now though, because that alternator I put on is it's pretty small. It won't keep up with both of them. But one fan by itself cools the whole thing pretty good. So maybe when I get something else figured out, I'll upgrade the alternator and I'll run both of them. I had both of them running, but you're looking at the voltmeter and it went from 14.5 volts and it dropped to like 11.5. You pulled one and you're at like 12.9 volts. So you can get away with one fan. But I'll get an alternator soon and get that situation fixed. But yeah, the stop leak stuff works so well that it actually gummed up my radiator and heating up in traffic, and like only like 2 or 3 of the fins that I could see visibly were flowing water. So I was like, well, heck with it. I'm gonna get a bigger radiator anyway. Just cool a little bit. It was getting pretty hot before anyway. But other than that, everything's running good. But problems with it. This motor's just like burning a quart of oil a week. Because you guys remember a video way back. I talked about changing valve seals. Well, the valve seals I bought were like 20 cents a piece off Summit on sale, I think, or wherever I got them. I don't remember, but I put them in, and as soon as I started the motor and I let it warm up, it started smoking like a freight train. I was like, well, what the heck's up with that? And I was like, oh, I must have bought the wrong valve seals. They must be sliding up on the valve or something, not sitting all the way down. So I pulled the valve cover off and pulled a couple springs off, and I started looking. I said, where are they at? I didn't have any. I guess, I don't know what happened, but they just disappeared. So I took one in the package that I didn't use. I put it in a little bit of oil, and it was starting to it looked like it was dry rotting and cracking, and the next thing I know, it just fell apart. So I ended up with no valve seals in it. I ended up changing this side, the driver's side, with a good Felpros, so they're all brand new, but the passenger side I never touched because I planned on pulling this motor anyway for that LS that was on the stand a long time ago that had really bad rust in the cylinders and had to be bored, and I just gave up on. So I said, heck with it, I'll just keep putting oil in it. But anyway, long story short, all the problems this motor's having, I'm done. And I know I just spent like $1,200 on Vitec for it, but I'm going to keep the Vitec and I'm going to transfer it to a new motor, which is what I've been putting off so long to show you guys on the video, but here it is. I'll show it to you. Finally got, it's a 2010 5.3. It was 112,000 miles. Came out of a 2010 Silverado. All aluminum block. Had the factory VVT, AFM, or displacement on demand, whatever you want to call it. It had all that jazz. The guy was selling it for $500, and he said a DOD lifter collapsed. So I said, okay, your loss, my gain. He wanted to put a 6.0 in his truck. He had his truck running, he sold this to me, so it was a low mileage motor, and here I was thinking, okay, I'll just put a KM lifters in it. That's all it did was ruin a DOD lifter collapse. So then I pulled it apart, and this might be a problem for some of you guys rebuilding an LS. You might want to look into the lifter tray. It wasn't even a DOD lifter that did it. The lifter tray cracked. If I had the tray, I think I threw it away, but if I had it, I'd show it to you. The lifter tray was actually cracked, and the lifter was spinning inside it. So what happened was the roller was riding on a cam lobe. I got the cam over here. I'll show it to you. See if you can see it. Trying to think of which cam lobe it was. Right there. Look at that. Focus. Focus. Anyway. The lifter was just riding, instead of the roller spinning on it, it was riding on it sideways and just ground into it. You see, that's how it's supposed to look, and that's how it ended up looking. So I was like, huh, what do you know? Ended up replacing lifter trays anyway, but man, that's got to be, remember, that's something you guys probably should look out for when you're rebuilding LS. Maybe go ahead and replace those trays, cheap insurance. But anyway, man, I've rambled a long time, but I'll try to get on with it. But anyway, I went ahead and pulled a cam in it. The cam I ended up getting was a, let's see, what is it? Is it 218, 224 at 50, 553 by 549? I don't remember. I've got the cam card somewhere. But anyway, what it is, it's a Brian Tooley Stage 3 truck cam. I was told it'd make good torque on the low end. I was like, oh, that'll be cool for a truck, when hauling a load in the bed, whatever. So I ended up getting that. I went LS7 lifters, LS2 lifter trays. I put an LS2 timing cover on it, LS3 timing gear because it's got the 4X wheel. Of course, got to keep the cam sensor in the front. Valley cover, I went LS3. Trying to think of everything else I did. Put an LS2 dampener in it, timing chain dampener. And of course, it's got 243 heads. The newer 5.3s came with some pretty nice heads, the 243s, the 799s, whatever. All the same thing, but I was like, oh wow, this will work pretty good because I was just gonna leave. If I got a 5.3, I was gonna leave it stock, just have a smooth driver. But once I got this and saw that it had 243 heads, I was like, man, I got to take advantage of those. If I had 862s, I'd leave it, but no point in having a high flowing head if you ain't gonna throw a nice cam in it to match. So I was just like, all right, I'll make something of it. I'd like to see 330 at the wheels. That'd be cool. I'm hoping to have it on the dyno at the street machines in a couple months. If it'll be done, probably not. But anyway, I've rambled on. I hope to have this in the truck soon, but I feel really bad because I've been keeping you guys out of the loop and haven't been telling you what's going on. I haven't been fair to you guys. We're well over 600 and are we over 630 subscribers now? I just want to thank every one of you for being awesome. Coming in to watch this garbage that I post on YouTube. Every one of you guys are awesome. I love you all, and I hope to catch you around on the flip side, and I hope to upload more often. I will catch you guys later. Peace.